4 to 5 million participants benefit from the programs and solutions we've designed and we operate. Globally, we're close to $900 million in revenue.
Called BI Worldwide. So what does it actually do?
We help clients create and sustain engagement.
What are your key understandings about behavioral economics?
Behavioral economics is used heavily in investments. There's something called anchoring. In any negotiation, the first party that starts with a number, the rest of the conversation really moving up or down from that number.
Latest technologies like AI in this organization.
How people use AI well is really what's the differentiator going to be.
So how does network help an entrepreneur?
And that happens, that's when you see the magic. There's something called confirmation bias. If you believe in something, then you start looking for information that tells you what you want to believe.
What are some key skills for an entrepreneur to kickstart their career?
That's the number one important skill that everybody must master, is to show up.
Hello and welcome to the Millionaires podcast, where we interact with people who've changed a million lives.
Today we have Siddharth Reddy with us, Managing Director and CEO of BI Worldwide India.
It's a pleasure to have you here. You're busy with work and traveling, and we're truly happy to see you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me here,
Yeah.
now and Yuvraj. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So let's start this podcast with you introducing yourself. So who is Siddharth Reddy?
Well, I'm a serial entrepreneur, runner, father, husband, easy and fun-loving person to be around with.
So I'd like to congratulate you and your team for winning the COVID Great Place to Work award for the third time in a row.
On that note, so let's talk about BI Worldwide. So what does it actually do?
We help clients create and sustain engagement with their key stakeholders, which are customers, channel partners, and their employees. And we do that by giving them the right strategy, the technology, and we also implement these solutions end to end.
Okay. So how big is BI Worldwide?
Well, BI Worldwide is a global organization. It was headquartered in the US. It is headquartered in the US. It's been around for over 70 years plus. BI Worldwide India is about 13 years old. Globally, we're close to $900 million in revenue. And in India, we're close to about $80 million.
Wow.
So what's your margin for this business? Like what's the overall average margin for this company?
Well, the industry margins average anywhere between 18 to 20% on a gross margin.
Okay.
And I think we are somewhere in that range as well.
So is the India branch the biggest contributor to this, or?
No, we're a very important strategic contributor to the overall global
Okay.
organization. We develop a lot of our product and technology and implement it from here.
Okay.
A lot of the audience, we have over a few million, 4 to 5 million participants that benefit from the programs and solutions that we've designed and we operate.
Yeah.
A large portion of them, reside here in India. So in that sense, our presence here and what the work that we do here is quite significant.
So that's what the India branch does, right?
That is correct, yeah.
Okay. So does this anything has to do like setting up in India, the BI Worldwide branch? Does it have to do anything with the cheap labor cost we have in India? Because compared to other countries like USA, companies often like to come to India so that they can hire good people for less amount of salary.
Well, the labor arbitrage has been an advantage, and I think nothing to feel shy about admitting that.
Yeah.
But that works typically in, say, an IT and ITES services. And when you're accessing a market which is outside of the US, but a lot of the work is getting done here.
Okay.
But our operation in India is slightly different. Most of our business is from clients who are in India.
Okay.
The part that we do, which is develop the product and implement the product and technology for rest of the countries, is a smaller portion, but a very important one. But the reason why BI Worldwide is in India, because our clients and their participants, their business in India and other countries, emerging economies are growing, and they want their agencies to be present there, be on the ground, and support them in their growth.
Yeah.
That is a significant reason why we're here in India.
Okay. So what does an ideal client for BY Worldwide look like?
We focus on enterprise clients, and these are your typical top 2,000 companies in any market that we operate. These are your large Indian multinational companies or global multinational companies.
So I want to get back to the point that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
You're setting up in India. How do you see the economy of India going in the next 10 years?
Well,
And how is it going to affect BI
it's
Worldwide?
all fireworks and bright spots everywhere. I think if you've seen I think the last financial crisis that we've had, other than the health crisis that we had in COVID, it was in 2008.
Yeah.
So it's been 16 years since the economy has been expanding. And I don't think any one of you have ever seen a recession. I've seen at
Yeah.
least three.
Yeah.
So, and many economies that have been in the same state as India, like Japan, South Korea, China, have all seen expansion of 20 to 30 years at a stretch before they started contracting.
Okay.
I think there's enough evidence to believe, if, of course, many other factors and there are no black swan events,
Yeah.
to believe that India will continue to expand. It'll have its challenges, it'll have its dips, but over a longer term horizon, I think it seems like a very good growth story to be in India and to do business in India.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is true, and India is a very young country. There's more than 70% of our population is sub 30 years. So the income gap is, I mean, India is not an exception. I think that you're seeing that everywhere in the world. I think there are certain industries that have disproportionately helped wealth to be concentrated in a fewer hands. That is true. I mean, it's a fact. But if you also look at the way India is growing, our per capita GDP per capita is really not growing, though
Yeah.
we're getting
Faster than GDP, overall GDP.
Yeah.
overall GDP
Yeah.
is growing, per capita is
capita
growing
Per capita
not,
is very
yeah.
low.
because our population is growing
Yeah.
at the same time. The other aspect is we have a middle class, but if you actually cut that further and see who's the middle income, there are probably only about 100 million people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
as against saying middle class of 300 million people. So that middle income of 100 million is, I believe, is going to grow.
Okay.
And a lot of the economy is going to be propelled by the discretionary income that they have and they will spend.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So BI Worldwide offers customer loyalty programs, right?
Customer loyalty programs, channel incentives, and employee engagement solutions. But our focus has largely been on employee engagement and channel incentives.
Okay.
We do customer loyalty as well, but not as much as the other two.
Okay. So what is employee engagement? Like what is it? I don't understand the concept.
Yeah, great question. I think employee engagement is how employees feel about their work and their organization.
Okay.
If they feel enthusiasm, if they feel committed, if they want to make a positive change, if they want to put in discretionary effort, if they want to recommend their place of work, and if they have an intent to stay longer, you say the employee is engaged. They come in, bring themselves to work, put in 100% or even more, are easier to collaborate with. They help each other, and they contribute positively to an organization.
Yeah.
These are the outcomes or the behaviors of an engaged employee.
Okay.
But the sad part is, from our research and from our studies, only about 30% of people exhibit these behaviors.
Okay.
So almost 70% of employees, not just in India, across the world, are disengaged or exhibit low engagement in their organization, and hence our solutions to help organization increase that.
So how do you design a employee engagement program?
Yeah. So it all starts with a client. What are their objectives? What's their current situation?
Yeah.
Is retention an issue? Is building culture an issue? What is it exactly that that's ailing them? And then we work with that. We start there. We use design thinking. We use our research. We use our experience in formulating and co-creating a solution for our clients. It typically involves distilling. Culture is basically how an organization rolls.
Yeah.
How you do things on a daily basis, and what are the behaviors and what are the rituals that you have on a daily basis. So how do you bring that in a programmatic way? How do you let managers and employees be recognized and rewarded for exhibiting the right behaviors on a daily basis? This eventually creates a cumulative effect, creates a culture of appreciation. People see what behaviors are being recognized and rewarded. They try to emulate those, and they try to repeat those once they're rewarded. And what happens then is the values that were just on, let's say, on the wall in a frame actually start getting experienced,
Yeah.
lived. And when that happens, that's when you see the magic. It's the whole organization is thriving because you have the right culture to achieve. Then you set your vision, you align people to that, and then you go execute it. If culture is behind, and no matter how
Good, the
grand your
product is,
vision
yeah.
is and how sound your execution plan is, you're going to have challenges where employees don't feel connected and committed to the organization.
Okay.
So how do you measure the success of this?
Yeah.
Uh, Multiple ways of measurement. We look at through surveys to employees, pre and post surveys. Has their intent to stay been lengthened? Initially, if they were say I'm intent to stay for 18 months, has it gone to 3 years?
Okay.
We look at the overall retention rates. We look at how many people are recognizing. What is the penetration of that strategy? Is only 10% being recognized, or is it 60% being recognized? And then we bring in a lot of the company strategies into the program. For example, if you want to achieve a certain business objective in a certain region, you connect that to the recognition program. You see if those values are being exhibited.
Okay.
So those are the things that you measure, and but a big impact one is retention.
Okay. So, like as you mentioned earlier, you help other companies optimize their culture. So, how do you ensure that your culture in BI worldwide is at its peak?
Yeah. Well, it's always work in progress.
Yeah.
We practice what we preach. We have a similar solution for our own organization that has been there forever.
Okay.
And we constantly monitor, measure the same numbers. How are the budgets being utilized? How many people are being recognized? What values are they being recognized for?
Okay.
Where are the divisions that are underpenetrated? What interventions do we need to do? Do we need to do a training? Do we need to do some behavior intervention? In a programmatic way, we do all of that. But
Okay.
broadly, we have our own employee value proposition. We are known for being innovative. We're known for being a high learning organization. So we continue to invest in those.
Okay.
And we have a culture that is fun and easy. We celebrate often. We celebrate wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
We learn from our failures. Nobody likes failing, but we have to learn how to
Yeah,
fail and
that's true.
how to react to it and respond to it. And people put in a lot of discretionary effort, in our organization. So and it's recognized and rewarded regularly. So yeah, it's work in progress, but yeah, I think we're in a good place.
Okay.
So sure, BI worldwide is successful, right? But what sets you apart from the competition you face?
Well, the results, if you see, we've only about 12, 13 years old here, but we are the second largest in revenue, and we are the, in terms of margin and profitability, we are significantly better than most organizations in this industry in India. But what sets us apart is our culture, is our technology, is the people. Our management team has been around for 10 plus years out of the 13 that we've been in India. And I think having a senior level executive team stay for longer helps you create and execute a strategy rather than having a revolving door and trying to explain to people what your vision is and alignment is. And once you have a team that stays that long, the compounding effect of building an organization is quite cool.
Yeah, it's like a family.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think that really differentiates us. A lot of people who look at us and look at our LinkedIn profiles and see who are the people in the organization and the length that we've been there, they have a lot of appreciation for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you give us an example of a company that's used this program and have successfully benefited from it?
Oh, several. Some of our largest clients are IBM, HSBC, Standard Chartered, Hewlett Packard, Dr. Reddy's, Genpact was our first client in India,
Okay.
and still, a very prestigious client of ours. So yeah, these are some of the big clients that we work with in India and globally.
Okay. Any interesting stories that you'd like to share
Yeah.
of these
Of any of
companies?
these case studies.
Yeah.
Sure. I think we run a very large aftermarket program for Tata Motors for their resellers and for their garages, where they fit genuine Tata Motors parts into commercial vehicles.
Okay.
So usually when trucks go for repair and so people tend to put compatible parts or fakes or so we promote the Tata genuine parts to mechanics and garages, and we reward them with points every time they fit a genuine product. We do something. The program is called Guru, and we do something on Teachers' Day. We call it the Guru Day,
Good day.
where there's a massive campaign, and the whole organization is out there in the field and encouraging people to fit and claim their points.
Okay.
I think we've broke several records in the number of WhatsApp messages sent, received, number of points claimed,
Okay.
the number of market share gained on that particular day. It's pretty cool on that day. There's a lot of activity and buzz in the market.
Okay. So, like you mentioned, you help Tata find mechanics. So, isn't that channel partners for Tata?
That is a channel partner program. That is
Okay.
correct. Yeah.
So, how do you build trust in these channel partner programs? I think that's a very crucial part in this.
Lovely question. How do you define trust? Trust is essentially if you're making the same decisions, in a repetitive situation, if the outcomes are the same, that's when people see consistency of behavior and they
Okay.
trust you for it. Trust forms over a period of time.
Yeah.
And if an organization is able to invest in their partners, motivate them, incentivize them, bring them programs, do training, invest in their future, that their earning potential continues to remain with, if they continue to remain with the organization.
Yeah.
If that is demonstrated consistently over a period of time, trust builds.
Yeah, that's true.
And through these programs that we run for Tata Motors, for example, that we've been running, it's the largest aftermarket program in India for over 7 years now. And the company really invests in their resellers, in their garages, the mechanics, training them, coaching them, motivating them, incentivizing them, and they know. So if they work with this organization,
Yeah.
stay with this brand, their earning potential is only going to increase, and they're taken care of. So that helps build trust.
Okay.
Also, when things don't go right, what are the principles that you live by?
Yeah.
Are you going to decide in their favor? Are you going to be lenient? Are you going to help them in their time of need? Those are character defining moments, and an organization steps up for their constituents. Again, that trust gets reinforced.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you offer these programs to like startups as well?
We would love to and help, but
Yeah.
our
Affordability.
affordability is an issue.
Yeah.
We have our product, our solutions, our team, our services are designed for large organizations with complex structures,
lot of
global
employees.
implementation. So we can't really box that down into a smaller.
Small, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, but so there are other organizations that do that, but yeah, we are more on enterprise focused.
So if you don't mind me asking, how much is the price for this?
Again, it
much you
depends.
charge?
Depends, yeah.
Because it's a heavy customization that is there for each client. It could start at $100,000 and go into $1 million as well.
A month or a year? Year annually, right?
Annually, yes.
Okay.
So depending on the size of the organization.
Yeah.
So are you using any latest technologies like AI in this organization? How do you leverage that?
Not yet, but we've started the work on it close to 6 months ago, and we're looking at bringing in various ML models, and then again preparing our data and preparing our technology to be able to harness what AI is going to bring. It's going to be, you're going to be left behind if you don't use AI. It's not going to be a big differentiator in say 3 years. It's going to be a level set kind of a thing. It's how people use AI well is really what's the differentiator going to be.
Yeah.
Not whether you use AI or not. Everyone's going to be using AI in a few years.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so the services offered by BI Worldwide requires knowledge from behavioral economics, right?
Yeah.
So what is behavioral economics?
Well, behavioral economics is the study of human behavior, and it combines both rational and emotional aspects, and understands why people do what they do. For example, you go into a buffet. You know that you don't want to eat too much. You're training or whatever. But what happens? That's your rational mind talking to you.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, you overeat.
Overeat, exactly.
Right? That's your emotion taking over and prompting you to behave in a different way that your rational mind wanted to.
Okay.
So you'll be surprised to know that more than 60 to 7 close to say 67% of all decisions that we take are influenced by our emotions more than our rational thinking.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I want to go way back, way back to your college years. Did you see yourself heading in this direction? Behavioral economics or what?
Well, not necessarily behavior economics,
Yeah.
but I mean these things came along the way, and as part of the business that we do, and we design programs for our clients, We look at, and a lot of our programs of creating engagement is all about how do we modify people's behaviors, right? So that they're aligned to the organization or to the company, and they're exhibiting the behaviors that an organization wants them to. So behavioral science came along the way, but really going back to college, I what I knew very clearly was I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but not. I definitely didn't think about loyalty or engagement or this particular business.
Okay.
Absolutely no idea
Okay.
at that time.
So, what are your key understandings about behavioral economics? Like some key basic understandings.
Well, like I said, we all have a lot of biases,
Yeah.
right? So there's something called anchoring. In any negotiation, the first party that starts with a number, the rest of the conversation really revolves around moving up or down from that number.
Yeah.
So they've anchored you to a number,
Okay.
right? So that's why in a negotiation you always say be the first person to name the price. Don't say you name.
Yeah.
So because then you use anchoring as an effect. There's something called confirmation bias. If you believe in something, then you start looking for information that tells you what you want to believe.
Yeah,
You
that's
stop
true.
looking for any other counterpoint.
Yeah.
So these are all biases. There's a recency bias. Whatever you heard recently, it becomes more of a truth to you than anything
Yeah.
else. So behavioral science is about. It's fascinating because it's how all of us make our decisions on a daily basis. How you negotiate, how you wake up and decide whether you want to be in bed for 5 more minutes or not.
Yeah.
These are all behavioral science, right? It's all rational versus emotional. So it's fascinating. I encourage you guys to read up more on it because we all have inherent plenty of biases. So once you learn, then you can start slowly undoing those, or slowly starting to what they call a slow thinking,
Yeah.
to remove those heuristics or shortcuts in your mind to behave in a certain way,
Okay.
break it down to more rational approach, and then really see what a well-informed choice is, and then take that.
So this is quite a personal question.
Sure.
I want to get into qualitative banking. So does
Qualitative banking.
yeah,
Okay.
not the concept, the qualitative side. Does behavioral economics have anything to do with qualitative banking?
A lot. I'm not sure if I understand what qualitative banking is, but
It's like the psychological part of not the
Yeah.
numbers part.
in fact, behavioral economics is used heavily in investments.
Yeah.
In a lot of your new age websites that help you invest, they say that so typically you tend to invest in the stock, and if it is falling, your first reaction is I'm going to wait,
Yeah.
right? And because there's a bias that is
It's gonna go.
working that it's going to go up. You don't want to be proven wrong. There's a little bit of ego that comes in,
Yeah.
as against selling and moving to a stock that's climbing,
Yeah.
which was the right thing to do, right? So investment theses, how people invest, why more than 90% of people lose money in day trading is all behavioral science.
That's true.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about EO.
Yeah.
You've been in the board of directors for quite a bit now, and you've also the president at
Yes.
one point in time. How has EO helped you become what you are right now, and how does it benefit entrepreneurs just like you?
Yeah. So EO thrives on the concept of peer-to-peer learning through shared experiences and coaching, mentoring, diverse and divergent views on any particular topic, from like-minded, risk-favoring entrepreneurs. So that's a great ecosystem to validate ideas. That's a great ecosystem to learn from various people who are on different parts of their entrepreneurship journey. It's helped me to stay humble, stay inspired, and really appreciate the twists and travails of being an entrepreneur, and the joys of being one, and all of it. So it gives you a ringside view of entrepreneurship, and you don't feel alone in that journey. There are others who've gone through the same challenges that you have, and it's great to learn from them, their experiences. Being president also helped me learn how to lead peers. An organization that's you don't get that opportunity because you're at the head of the organization. But over here, everyone's a volunteer and everyone's a CEO of their organization, and you have to lead them as president. And
Yeah, that's a very unique point.
and no one's accountable to you. So, so it really teaches how you to create space for people, allow for diverse views. It's not your way. Um, and it helps you to listen more. And if someone's falling behind, it's not about motivating that person to achieve more, but really empathize and understand if their situation is demanding them to be elsewhere, and then see how you can back that person up and support that person. So it teaches you a lot of empathy. So yeah, it's been a very unique experience of being president, and
So
it's
how did
been
you?
very rewarding.
Okay, yeah. So how did you come across you?
Well, through a friend, and I'd moved to Bangalore about 14 years ago, and a friend who lived in the same building kind of talked to me about it. I hadn't heard of it at all, and talked to me about it, and he said, "Hey, you know what? You should join this organization." I said, "Okay, I give it a shot." So
Yeah.
that's how I got into it, and yeah,
Okay.
it's been great.
Yeah. So you mentioned that networking is a crucial part of you, right? So how does networking help an entrepreneur?
Well, in many, many ways. I'm not just an entrepreneur, even a professional, or even otherwise.
Oh, yeah.
I think meeting people. I mean, if you're an extrovert, I think it will come naturally to you. But even otherwise, I think it's really important that you meet people from different walks of life, different points of view. It helps you broaden your own horizons of how you think about anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I attended a course with 70 other entrepreneurs, and we were doing case study based learning, and it was just fascinating to see how different people read into that case study and came with very different solutions to the problem. Um, I mean, there were several solutions, several approaches to it. So it's networking helps with all of that, and also network when you don't need it. So
Yeah.
you build your network so that when you really need it, you always have
You always
someone
have
that
someone,
you know for a while, and you have a relationship with, who can step up and step in for you.
Okay.
So
So going
constantly be networking.
okay. So going all the way back to employee engagement.
Sure.
So employee there are a lot of motivational theories out there, but the main one is like which is the most popular one is that financial incentives are the most powerful ones. So what do you think about this?
I would say aspirational incentives, not just financial.
Okay.
Cash has a place, but there are studies that say cash has a diminishing effect, a reverse effect after a point. It becomes a
Yeah.
stressor. If I come and say, if I give you 5 times the money, will you work and deliver results? You won't be able. It starts stressing you out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So cash is great. Financial incentives are great to a point, but after that, aspirational rewards, guilt rewards, as we call it. This is stuff that even if I gave you money, you wouldn't buy.
Yeah.
But if it's on a catalog, if it's a reward that you would win if you achieved something, you will go for it much harder than if it was just cash.
Okay.
So it's a cash versus non-cash theory. But broadly, incentives do help, and they go a long way in motivating people and modifying behaviors.
Okay. So what are some best non-financial incentives that you incorporate in your programs?
Well, travel experiences,
Okay.
high-end gadgets, and now we've recently introduced something called Mastery, which is for you to learn, follow your passion, learn guitaring, learn how to cook, make cocktails, things like that. So people want to do that.
Okay, so let's go back to where we left off.
Yeah.
We were talking about networking, right? Yeah. So, what are some key skills that, like, for example, being able to network efficiently?
Yeah.
What are some key skills for an entrepreneur to kickstart their career?
Yeah, like communication and all.
Career or networking?
Their career.
Well, communication is a super important one.
Yeah.
Two, I think it's I think putting yourself out there, and not feeling shy about it, or
How do you put yourself out there?
back yourself.
Okay.
And the only way you can get better at something is when you practice it.
Yeah.
I think you have to ingrain that into your head. If you feel that I'm not good at this, I'm not going to do it, you're never going to do it.
Yeah.
So you say, listen, I'm going to go make a fool out of myself first 10 times, and the 11th time I'll be all right.
Yeah.
I think I think that's a realization that everybody needs to have, and just show up. I think that's the number one important skill that everybody must master, is to show up.
Okay.
Everything else will fall in place after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's move on to the world of angel investing. You have been a part of Angel
Mumbai Angels.
Mumbai
Yeah.
Angels.
Yeah.
So have you invested in any startups recently?
Not recently, but over the years, I've invested in several startups.
Okay.
I've been part of Mumbai Angels, not anymore, but
Yeah.
I've not I've recused because I've not had the time, because I've been very busy building this organization. Um, but yes, I've dabbled in angel investing. I wouldn't say I'm a prolific angel investor, but I've
Okay.
invested in about 11 to 12 companies.
Yeah. So how do you become an angel investor?
Well, first you need to have the money
Yeah.
to invest and participate in someone else's vision and be excited about it and see opportunity in it. And for me, it was I was pretty agnostic about industry. I was more excited about an entrepreneur's backstory, the idea, the problem they were solving. It is something that I may not have the skill to solve, but if I, identified someone who had the skill and the right idea, I wanted to participate in that story.
Yeah.
So that motivated me to, be an investor in these organizations.
Can you share some of the companies that you have invested in? Like, what do they do?
Well, one of the companies that I'm an incubator, investor, founder is a company called Vouchergram.
Okay.
They also trade by the name as Gifter, Gyftr. They help brands create, digitize their gift vouchers and distribute them. So if you ever redeemed a gift voucher from any of the bank reward programs,
Yeah.
you get a code from a handle called Gifter. That's the company that I'm an investor in and I'm on the board of. They help more than 200 plus brands now in India to digitize their gift voucher and and do the settlement and all of it.
Okay.
So it's a pretty exciting business, growing very rapidly.
Okay.
So being an angel investor, what's the success rate? I mean, how many companies do you make a return out of?
That formula is hard to nail by anybody.
Of course.
Across all the 10, 12 companies that I've invested in, some failed to realize their vision. Some returned the money more or less equal to what I'd invested, and then some have generated multiple returns. So overall, I think at the end of it, I would say I've made some money on it. But out of 10, 12 companies, making some money is still considered to be very good.
Yeah.
A lot of people invest beyond that, go into 30 companies or so to realize better returns. You can't invest in 2 or 3 and hope for. I mean, if you do, you'll be an outlier.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of spreading your risk.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's talk about your childhood. Did you always have this entrepreneurial passion within you?
I did. I always did. I didn't come from a business family. My father was a lawyer, so I had no idea of how to start or run a business. There were no dining table conversations around business or any conversations around business. I had absolutely no idea, which is why I was very excited about it.
Okay.
So how do you navigate through your journey of not having any family background and still having enough good knowledge to about business, to become the CEO of BI Worldwide?
Well, like I said, you have to put yourself out there and do it. And
Trust in your capabilities.
I got back yourself, and you have to have the perseverance. You have to have the conviction. You have to believe in an idea, even if others don't.
Yeah.
And you should be able to anticipate future needs. You should be able to separate trends from hundreds of signals, and it's a lot of gut, and you build it over a period of time.
Okay.
I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I got an opportunity to co-found my first company in the .com 1.0 time in 2000.
Yeah.
I jumped at it. I was 27 years, and I jumped at it. I had no downside, nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Went in and there was a storm. There was a .com bust.
Yeah.
I didn't give up. I said, let's see if we can keep standing till the storm passes. that paid off. We eventually turned around,
Yeah.
pivoted, became profitable.
Yeah.
We got acquired by a French company. Then we exited, made money,
Okay.
and then started two more companies.
Okay. Okay. Say
Sounds
when you
like
were our age, right? Did you start anything or were you?
Well, I think the times were different.
support.
So entrepreneurship was actually a bad word. You because it's very hard to raise capital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a good job was always a nice one. Entrepreneurship was seen as a very high risk thing, but no, I didn't start a company or anything, but in college I would help a restaurant you know sell more of its services and its offering by working with a friend of mine to create menus and distribute that and convince people to go and eat there.
Sounds nice.
I was a salesperson. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you specialize in? Say a company was to hire you. Why would they hire you?
Well, I think my skills over a period of time have matured, and right now I believe I'm very good at strategy and thinking about business models, innovation, looking into the second horizon. That is, what does the business need 3 years from now? Because you need to start working on it now
Yeah.
for you to have it in the future, near future. And ability to lead and inspire people. So I think these are skills that
Okay.
I would
Yeah.
tell a company if they were interested to hire.
Okay.
Of course. Yeah. Okay. So let's move away from the topic of entrepreneurship for a while. How does a day in your life look like?
Right now, I work with, I lead a few projects around innovation, and I work with teams that are spread across. So, wake up in the morning, I do a workout or go for a run, and then I look at some of the emails from the east, and then rest of the day, yeah, I'm in the office, not every day, but a few times a week. And evenings, I have calls from on the west side of the world into late 6:30, 7:30, 8, and yeah, that's pretty much
Okay.
how my day goes.
Okay. So you mentioned you were a marathon runner.
Yeah.
How did you initially get into this journey of life?
Well, I never used to work out ever, and my metabolic rate was pretty good, so I never put on weight until it wasn't, and then I tried everything. I tried going to a gym. I tried getting a trainer. I tried paying for the whole year upfront so that I use guilt to
Guilt to, yeah.
show up in the gym, but
Phenomenal.
yeah, I just couldn't do it, and I just found it really boring, and I just couldn't get myself to go and exercise. So then one day I just went out and went for a run, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then I started
Okay.
doing that. I just like to be outdoors.
Okay. So how important is, say, working out or marathon running in your case? How is it important for an entrepreneur?
Running for me is helped me be more disciplined and be more healthy, and get better rest, eat better, and also gave me an activity that is easy to do even if I'm traveling. I just have to throw in my shoes, then then you can run anywhere. But overall, I think just being healthy is important whether you're an entrepreneur or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So it's universal. So I think you owe it to yourself to take good care of your mind and body.
Okay.
So
So, what would be that one resource that has significantly helped you in your entrepreneurship journey? Like a book or something like that?
I would, yeah, more than a book, I would say I've had the most amazing mentors
Fantastic.
at different parts, different points in my life, and they have really shaped a lot of my thought, how I look at business, ethics and values, and how I think. So I think I'm extremely grateful to all my mentors and coaches in my life. But in terms of a book, something that I read in college is Jonathan Livingston Seagull.
Okay.
We
Yes.
got the same recommendation
From
by in our episode
previous
2.
guest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's at that formative years, it was very inspiring for me to, just be a better version of myself.
Okay.
Okay.
So, who have been some of your mentors? Like, what relation did you have with them?
I think mentors come, in all walks of life. Both personal, family, work,
Yeah.
and I would say at any given point of time you should have at least 2 or 3 mentors who you can go to. You can bounce off ideas,
Yep.
validate your thoughts. Yeah, so several mentors.
Okay.
Okay. So we have come to the closing on this podcast. So could you provide all the aspiring young entrepreneurs with a parting note?
Yeah, I think it's important to first identify what you're good at.
Okay.
Then it's important to get very good at it,
Okay.
and then identify a problem that is worthy enough for solving, where you can implement your skills.
Okay.
And then once you get started, never give up.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Siddharth Reddy, for
Yeah.
coming on this podcast. It's truly been a pleasure to host you. And we've learned a lot. And I'm sure people, rather aspiring entrepreneurs watching this episode, have learned a lot as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
It's a
I've
pleasure
enjoyed
hosting you.
talking to you both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Likewise.
Done? All good?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome, man. Thank you.